What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my Friday Night SmackDown audio review for March 17, 2023. I am Graham G. Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoyed your St. Patrick's Day last night. I know I did because this was a great show. This was a great way to spend the night. And I have not watched SmackDown live in quite a while. I typically don't. I don't usually watch it until on delay or later in the night or early Saturday. This was a good show to watch live to ensure I wasn't spoiled by anything ahead of time. This was a really, really good show and a great way to kind of continue the road to WrestleMania, set up several stuff, the opening segment, the closing segment, and really what made this show, we got some solid wrestling throughout the night, but what really made the show was the great promo work from Sami, from Kevin, from Cody, from the Usos, from Rhea and Charlotte, from Rey and Dominic. A lot of great WrestleMania progression here and exactly what SmackDown needed heading into the road to WrestleMania. One of, if not the strongest SmackDown so far this year, in my opinion. Now, I am a little frustrated right now because I literally just did this entire video, and for whatever fucking reason, the audio stopped recording after a certain point. So, the intro got cut out. I talked for a good 10 minutes about what we're about to talk about. I'll include that. Up until the WrestleMania Showcase stuff. And then after that, the audio stopped recording. This does not happen often. I do not know what the fuck happened. My laptop is currently fine. I'm not running. I am low on storage, but that's typically not a problem. I don't know what the fuck happened. So if I keep my thoughts on certain stuff brief, it's because I literally, and I was really happy with the recording I did too. I'm like, wow, I really, usually I have to start and stop these recordings a lot because I fuck up a lot or whatever, or I miss talking about something, or I misspeak, or anything else along those lines. I didn't do that with this review. And then it stopped recording halfway through, so I'm really fucking pissed. So I can't spend a ton of time on stuff, but I thought this was a really good show. So we start from the beginning here. Cody Rhodes coming out to the ring to call out both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to attempt to get them on the same page. This was what I was waiting for. This was what everyone was waiting for in addition to what we got at the end of the show. But you had to establish that Cody Rhodes, this was his goal all along. We saw him talking to Kevin Owens backstage on Raw, not this week, but the week prior, in like a quick blink and you miss it segment where he was clearly attempting to talk to Kevin Owens about why it's important that he and Sami Zayn get along because they can only take down the bloodline as a unit and not individually. And that's what we got here. So Owens did not immediately forgive Sami Zayn until the end of the show. Sami Zayn first, I'm all over the place here, by the way, but Sami Zayn first had to tell Kevin Owens, listen, I love you, and I do want to be your friend. Because Kevin Owens got the gist here. He got the vibe from Sami that Sami was merely trying to get him, to recruit Kevin Owens because he merely wanted him in his war to get back to the bloodline. And not because he actually wanted to be friends. But that's not true. Kevin Owens was told by Sami outside of the arena when Owens was leaving the arena right after the segment that Sami does indeed not just want to be friends, but best friends and brothers. And he said that he loves him. And Owens didn't really know how to respond, and he drove off. That was great. So the whole segment here was wonderful. Cody Rhodes playing Peacemaker, and I'm not talking about John Cena, makes sense because, again, he has established an alliance with Sami Zayn in recent weeks. Kevin Owens and him have history as well, which I wasn't sure if they would acknowledge on screen. Obviously not mentioning them by name, but I'm really happy he mentioned how when Cody Rhodes left WWE back in 2016, 2017, I don't know if this was ever really public knowledge until Kevin Owens, I had to look it up last night, until Kevin Owens mentioned this in an interview about a year ago when Cody Rhodes first came back to WWE, that when Cody Rhodes left WWE, Kevin Owens introduced him to the Elite and told them to kind of take care of Cody Rhodes because he was really close with Cody when they were both in WWE. For the short time they were there at the same time in early 2016, late 2015, they became fast friends and Cody Rhodes left, so he introduced the Elite to Cody. And sure enough, that was what led to AEW. So had Owens not, kind of cultivated that friendship and alliance between Cody and the Bucks and Omega and whoever, then who knows if AEW would even become a thing. So obviously I didn't mention AEW or the Bucks or Omega by name here, but to even make that subtle reference I thought was great. You can tell no one in the crowd got the reference or understood what the fuck he was talking about because there was no reaction. Not really no reaction, but, had more people known about that. It's actually quite amazing that there's been no AEW chance, no Elite chance. I'm not complaining that there hasn't been. I'm glad there hasn't been. But, Cody Rhodes has made some mentions of, not outright mentioning AEW, but making reference subtly to AEW and the Elite. And there's been like people, a majority of the casual audience either don't know that or don't care. So I just thought that was entertaining. But anyway, this entire segment I thought was great. Everyone playing their roles remarkably well here, setting up what we got at the end of the show with Owens and Zayn against the Usos. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But this was a great way to close the show. And like I tweeted last night, I sound like a broken record and I apologize. But literally almost every single Bloodline-related segment, matches too, but mostly the promos, feel fucking must-see. At this point, Zayn, Rhodes, Owens, Usos, and Roman, and you can throw in Heyman and Sikoa as well. Everything involving all of those men at this point feels must-see. That is how great the build-up to this Bloodline storyline has been. WWE actually just yesterday, I think, dropped a near 2-hour episode of WWE playlist on their YouTube channel, where you can check out the entire Bloodline storyline in chronological order, from the very early beginnings of 2020 all the way to present day. I don't know where it exactly ends, and honestly, I would wait until after WrestleMania to post that, because the Bloodline could be maybe not over at WrestleMania, but we can get that much closer to the end of the Bloodline, depending on what the outcomes of the tag team title and the Universal title matches are. But it is cool to post it now to get people excited for the Bloodline matches at WrestleMania. So anyway, I thought this was a great way to kick off the show. Anything with the Bloodline, injected into my fucking bloodline, because I'm a mark for this shit, but this is storytelling done perfectly well. Wrestling storyline, or wrestling storytelling rather, at its finest. Our first match on the show saw Judgment Day's Dominik, Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley team up against Legado del Fantasma, Santos, Escobar, and Zelina Vega. Nice little match here. I'm liking Legado as baby faces. I think they've done well in the role. They haven't done a lot of winning lately. Santos lost to Dominic a couple of weeks ago. They lost the 6-person tag team match or 6-man tag team match last week on SmackDown. They lost this match here. So they've been doing a lot of losing. I can't remember the last match that Santos won, to be honest with you. But he's in there looking good. Zelina looked really good here. I like Zelina in matches like this. I mean, on her own, she's fine. I think Zelina is honestly a little bit better than I've given her credit for in the past. I just don't think on her own she's all that interesting, honestly. But in a group like Legado, teaming with someone like Santos is perfect. Like when she used to team with Andrade on occasion many years ago. This is something similar. But I thought she and Rhea worked well together here. Santos and Dominic worked well together. It was a good match, and Judgment Day won, with Rhea Ripley fucking murdering Zelina with a riptide. Holy shit. I don't know if it was the execution or the sell or what, or maybe just a combination of both. That riptide from Rhea looked fucking brutal, because Zelina's so small that she could sell it so well. So she looked like she got killed on that move. But that was great. Post-match, and we had more from Rhea later on, but Rey Mysterio came out. Rey Mysterio came out and confronted Dominik Mysterio. So this was a continuation of what we got on Raw, continuation of what we got from these two last week on SmackDown. Rey Mysterio is going into the Hall of Fame, and he mentioned here he would love nothing more than for these two to put their differences aside and for Dominic to be there when he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Dominic said, no, you're a deadbeat dad. Where were you all those years? And Rey Mysterio said, well, I wasn't there because I was here trying to give you the best life, trying to make money, and that Mysterio name got you out of trouble a lot of times. And had it not been for that, we may not have had as good of a life as you wanted, whatever. Dominic just saying, I just want my father. Like, I don't care about any of that. I just want my dad. I didn't get him. Blah, blah, blah. This was great. And honestly, it's amazing. And I wrote this in my review for WrestleRant.com. Check it out. Cheap plug. My SmackDown review of the show last night. It's amazing how WWE turned a storyline. And props to, the company themselves, but specifically Rey and Dominic for really carrying this on the promo end. Taking a storyline that was the worst thing going, in my opinion, one of the worst things going in WWE when Triple H first took over in the summer of last year. Because this storyline happened, it first kicked off. I mean, obviously Rey and Dominic have been together on TV. They're fucking father and son. But the heel turn from Dominic happened under Triple H's watch. I don't know if Vince McMahon would have done that if he would have booked it the exact same way and done the exact same thing. By having Dominic turn on Rey in September, and they interacted for a few weeks after that. Rey was made to look like a little bitch by not hitting Dominic back and whatever. They took Rey, put him on SmackDown, and they have successfully reheated up the program in time for WrestleMania. With people really, 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 really wanting to see Rey strike his son, kick his ass, and face him at WrestleMania. We nearly got that here. Ray made a reference to the fact that, listen, I would want nothing more than to do that and give you the ass whooping that you've had coming to you at WrestleMania. And people were like, yes, yes, yes. But then he said, I just can't do it. I'll never face you. And then he walked off. And Dominic kind of recycled the same lines from last week where he said, you're doing the one thing you told me to never to do, was to walk away. This is what you're teaching me. You're teaching me what not to be as a father, as a person, as a man, whatever. This was great. Obviously, they have to pull the trigger on the match announcement soon. I thought we would get it here. It's been fucking weeks of this. And it is starting to get a little long in the tooth. I'm enjoying the segments. The mic work is great. They're gradually kind of unveiling more layers to this story as far as what the bad blood is here, what Dominic's issue is with his dad, blah, blah, blah. That stuff is great, and it's all relatable stuff, which I like a lot as well. But they have to get to the point where they make the match official. Now, it's looking like at this point, with WrestleMania in 2 weeks from today, they might indeed be waiting for the Hall of Fame ceremony the night before WrestleMania. The only reason I don't like that, and it would make sense because Ray's made it pretty clear, there's nothing Dominic can do that would lead to Ray accepting the match for Mania. But obviously Dominic interrupting the Hall of Fame ceremony, maybe being disrespectful towards the parents or beating up Conan or something, who's reportedly inducting Ray into the Hall of Fame that weekend. Maybe that would be enough for Ray to accept the invitation. I just wouldn't make the match official and then do the match a day or two later. I would like some room between the announcement and then the match. The problem is that the Hall of Fame is right after SmackDown, the weekend of WrestleMania. So that looks to be where they're heading with it. Otherwise, I'm not really sure why they wouldn't have done it here. But maybe they want to space out the moments too. That's also very possible. At this point, I'm starting to think they are waiting until the Hall of Fame. But it is possible with the moment that we got at the end of this show with Owens and Zayn, they didn't want to blow their load and do, a big moment with Ray and Dominic on the exact same show. They could be saving that either for Raw or for SmackDown next week. I know Rey Mysterio is facing LA Knight on SmackDown next week, so they could do it there after that match, whatever. So I'm not really sure, but I thought this was more great stuff from Ray and Dominic, though, regardless. So we found out here from the commentators we're getting 2 fatal 4-way tag team matches at WrestleMania. Well, initially we found out from @WrestleVotes on Twitter. WrestleVotes tweeted earlier in the day, and the person nailed it when they tweeted this, that we were getting 4-team matches at WrestleMania. I don't know if they said there would be one for the men and the women. I know they just revealed the men's as being a 14 tag team match with, as of right now, nothing at stake, which is fucking weird. But if you care about spoilers and don't really want to know who's going to be in the match, then skip ahead by like 10 seconds. But they announced the Street Profits, the Alpha Academy, Viking Raiders, and Stroman and Ricochet would be the men's teams in that matchup. Now, I asked last week, why are the Viking Raiders and Stroman and Ricochet, feuding right now? Not only to kill television time, but apparently, because now we know our answer, they're going to be a part of a 4-team ladder match. It's probably just a 4-team match at WrestleMania. Honestly, to me, this is no different than the fucking Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. You just replace one pointless match with another. I'm happy they're getting on the show. Don't get me wrong. And I know there was a report a couple of weeks ago, Triple H is cutting down on the Mania card and talent are upset. Maybe this is the answer to that, assuming that was true. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. I am happy the talent are on the show. I'm not saying you can't do a match like this. We've gotten multi-team women's matches every fucking year at Mania for like years now. That's fine. Just make it mean something. I mean, I wouldn't care that much more if the tag titles were on the line for the women's one, because those tag titles mean nothing anyway. I thought we might get a multi-team women's match on Saturday and then a title match on Sunday after the team on Saturday becomes number 1 contenders. It doesn't look like that's happening. The women's teams, Liv and Raquel won here against Emma and Tegan. The match was whatever. No one gave a shit. But I assume that, they would have to be for a title shot, because otherwise what's the point? But @WrestleVotes also reported after the show, the women's teams will include Liv and Raquel, Natalya and Shotzi, Ronda and Shayna, and then Chelsea and Carmella. I like Chelsea and Carmella. Liv and Raquel make sense as a team. Ronda and Shayna make sense. I just don't care. I really don't care. That sounds like a bathroom break. Even for the men's match, too. Even with the men's match, they're actual teams. I still don't care. Like, put something on the line or put it on the pre-show. That sounds like a complete waste of time. If you're just putting them on the show to put them on the show, then just do a fucking battle royal. Again, this match wasn't bad, but it was easily the weakest part of the show. All 4 women are baby faces. The crowd didn't care. Raquel hasn't been on the show in a month. No one gave a shit. Emma Emma and Tegan have done nothing since returning to the company. And I like both women a lot, but they've really just been glorified enhancement talent. And Liv is all over the place. She has a new partner every other week. So, again, I just don't care. I'm happy they'll be at WrestleMania. They'll get a WrestleMania moment match, whatever. But without anything at stake, I'm not really sure how anyone could give a shit right now. Honestly, I would put title shots on the line and then give them the title shots either on night 2 of Mania, or in the case of the men, I wouldn't have Owens and Zayn win on night 1 and then face the fucking Alpha Academy on night 2. That would be a waste of time. Do it on Raw that Monday. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, Charlotte and Rhea had a face-to-face, and this was much better than their face-to-face a week or two ago. Better mic work, Charlotte acting like a heel per usual. What else is new? Not really her fault. She's just miscast. Rhea had good mic work. The problem is that I'm looking forward to this match more than most because of their history and their chemistry in the ring, but I can see why most people wouldn't care because the build so far hasn't been great. But then again, Sasha and Bianca, their build wasn't overly great, a few years ago, and they ended up killing it in the main event of WrestleMania. I still don't think this should be the night 1 main event. I know, listen, Rhea won the Rumble. She should technically be in the main event of WrestleMania. The tag team title stuff with the Usos, Sami, and Kevin is just a stronger story, and it should be as good, if not a better match. So, that's just me. I wouldn't be upset if the women do main event. This should be a really good match. They deserve it. Charlotte got fucked over last year. I know people don't really sympathize with Charlotte, but whatever. Just my 2 cents on it. But this was still a really good way of heating up the feud as they needed to. The brawl was really what took this feud to the next level. A really well-executed brawl. No woman getting the upper hand over the other. This was really good stuff. Xavier Woods beating LA Knight. I mean, the match was whatever. Who gives a shit? Kofi's out hurt right now. Big E's still not back. Probably won't be for a while, if at all. But I assume he will be back at some point, in my opinion. My guess. Knight lost to Kofi a couple of weeks ago. He was out for revenge here. Lost to Xavier Woods via a roll-up. Via a small package. They're telling the story that Knight can't buy a win, and he's frustrated on the road to WrestleMania. He's facing Rey Mysterio next week. He disrespected Rey in a backstage segment right after this. I hope he ends up doing something significant at WrestleMania. He's getting over. If he continues to lose, people will go back to not caring. So I really hope this doesn't backfire is my thing. It would be a real shame if it did, because this guy is too talented to be just a fucking jobber on the show. But the match was whatever. We'll see what it leads to. Hopefully something with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but that's just my guess. Sheamus and Drew, Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders match. Good match from them, entertaining encounter per usual. Only 10 minutes long. Didn't need to be more than that. Let them go all out at WrestleMania, and that's where this is headed. The execution of the finish wasn't ideal, with it ending in a no contest. I mean, what they did last week, honestly, was better. The double draw. If they were going to do that, then why do this? If the end result was the same, but they probably just wanted to kill time before WrestleMania. But still, the triple threat is where we're headed, with Gunther versus Sheamus and Drew at Mania. Give Sheamus the win, please. What a great match, though, this should be. Probably has the potential to be the best match of WrestleMania weekend, to be honest. This should be sexy. Didn't love the finish here as far as how it was executed, but it got us to where we needed to be. Good stuff. And then we get to the main event segment where they were billing as the Kansas City Showdown between Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Sami Zayn bringing up, or Jey Uso first talked about how, he didn't like Sami from the get-go in the bloodline. He called him a fake-ass Us. And, he trusted him, loved him like a brother. Then he had to backstab him by doing what he did at the Rumble. And Sami said, listen, you're just mad at yourself because you do have a choice to turn on Roman and leave the bloodline. You just choose not to. And you're just mad at me because you didn't hit Roman Reigns with the chair first. And Jey got pissed, laid out Sami. Out comes Jimmy. And then out comes Kevin Owens. This was outstanding. We knew exactly where this was going. I didn't know if they would do the segment here or save it for Raw or SmackDown next week. I didn't even know we would get the hug. But Owens fends off the Usos, helps Sami Zayn fend off the Usos. They embrace in a hug, monster pop. And the best part about the storyline with the bloodline and how amazing it's been for almost a year now is that we've gotten many of these big pop-worthy moments along the way. At the Rumble, trial of Sami Zayn, Elimination Chamber, before Elimination Chamber, when Jey turned on Sami a couple weeks ago, Cody saving Sami. A lot of big pop-worthy moments in the last couple of weeks alone. And this was just the latest one in a long list of amazing moments in this Bloodline story. And then winning the tag titles at WrestleMania will be the next one, and it should be the next one. This was great stuff. I mean, again, we all knew this was coming. They took their time with it, and it was worth the wait. This was wonderful, and I can't wait for that match in Mania. And like I said earlier, to me, this is really the night 1 main event. It's the stronger story, will be as good, if not better, than Charlotte and Rhea. More people are excited for it. And yeah, technically, Rhea and Charlotte should main event, and it sucks for them. It would be quite unfair if they don't. But listen, this is the better moment. This is what people really, really want to see. People do want to see the women's match. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to the women's match. I wouldn't be upset if they fucking main event instead. I know people would be like, oh, how can they do this? Blah, blah, blah. Typically, I would be that way, but Charlotte and Rhea is a worthy main event. It's not like it's fucking Brock and Omos. It could be worse. But this, to me, is the real main event of night one. This should be outstanding, so I'm looking forward to it. And that was SmackDown in a nutshell. The strongest SmackDown of the year so far, if not in a long time. We've had some good SmackDowns so far in the last couple of weeks, but we needed some major WrestleMania developments, and we got it on this show. The mic work was really the highlight of the show, and I don't say that often about these WWE shows because a lot of the segments just aren't great, but the mic work from Rey and Dominic, Charlotte and Rhea, their brawl, the stuff at the beginning of the show with Cody, Owens, and Sami, the end of the show with Jey and Sami, and the post-match brawl, and the reunion, the big pop. Great show, good crowd as well. I forgot where they were last night. Maybe somewhere in the Northeast. I know they were obviously in Providence on Monday because I was there. Forgot where they were for this show, but this was a really, really fun show. Fucking loved it. And hopefully, everything's kind of peaking at just the right time with the Mania in 2 weeks. You need to keep the momentum going. We need a strong final stretch going into WrestleMania. You got 2 more Raws, 2 more SmackDowns. That final SmackDown you can kind of write off. It's that, the SmackDown before Mania is never really overly newsworthy or eventful because people are already kind of waiting for WrestleMania the next day. It's kind of a, throwaway show. But the rest of the show should be hopefully eventful and give us what we need to get on the road to WrestleMania and kind of keep the energy going. Because some storylines I don't really care about, but I would say there's a majority of the Mania card that I care about more than matches I don't. Even like a match like Asuka and Bianca, I wanted the match. We're getting the match. It should be a great match. The build has sucked, but I'm still looking forward to it. So I feel like you could say the same thing about most of the matches in Mania, at least in my opinion. And WWE's done a good job of getting people excited. And the good stuff is great, and the decent stuff can be bad, but, like I said, I guess it could be worse as well. So that's my take on it. I look forward to watching SmackDown next week, checking out that show, and reviewing that show. So that will be the next SmackDown review is next Saturday. The week after that is the final SmackDown before Mania. I typically don't do SmackDown reviews the weekend of pay-per-views just because I don't have time, and I'm typically at these fucking shows. I've been at every pay-per-view for the last couple of months for the most part. So, and I will be at Mania as well. I don't know if I'll be at that SmackDown. I was last year. I don't know if I'll be there this year. I might be. I'm not sure. I don't think I will be. Regardless, I will not do a review because Mania is the next day, and who cares about SmackDown? So keep an eye out for all the content coming up here to the channel in the next couple days, weeks. We got a lot of it, a lot of interviews. I'm trying to do more 2K23 content. Didn't have much time to film stuff this week, but that should be up soon, so keep an eye out for that. And a ton more. Live reactions as well. So be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. We'll be back very soon with more content for you guys here on the channel. Have an awesome one. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.